佢知道好搶熱豬肉同埋怪妹，但係佢冇問題接受我，我一定可以反起豬肉。但係嗰啲怪妹，頂你個肺！你點反起怪妹啊？
一場精彩比賽，明唔明白？開始㗎！
Hi, welcome to the Silver Spleen. My name is Peter McNeely, and this is my review of We Are Legends. One of the hardest things to do in filmmaking, or the film industry, is to create a style or a signature that you could be known for. Director Daniel Chan and cinematographer Wade Muller have made several movies together, and I've enjoyed them for a lot of reasons. Triad, Cross, and Young and Dangerous Reloaded were simultaneously a lot of fun to watch as well as a lot of fun to look at. For whatever reason, local films in the last few years seem to think that color is a bad thing. You know, if I mention films like Cold War, Zed Storm, or Project Gutenberg, the images in your head probably have a lot of gray and blue in them. The far end of that spectrum, of course, is The Trough, a film that put all of its color into the poster and took it out of the film itself. I'm really not a fan of that. If I want to see a lot of depressing gray, I'll look at my pubic hair. Sorry. We Are Legends, like Daniel Chan and Wade Muller's previous collaborations, is wonderfully colorful. Part of my admiration for it is probably just simple nostalgia. The golden age of Hong Kong cinema was riotously colorful, and seeing that tradition carried on, especially on a big screen, just makes me happy. But Chan and Muller's movies are also very Hong Kong in their stories and their presentations. We Are Legends tells the story of two orphan brothers, played by Lam Yu Seng and Edward Ma. Eric Kotman-Fai and Yun Chu are their surrogate parents, and they raise these two boys into fighters, both literal and figurative. Jack is a fighter just entering the professional realm, and he's got a bit of an ego problem. Rabbit likes to make extra money fighting underground. I mean, fighting unofficially, not literally like fighting, in basements. No. And you know what? That's really all the story you're going to hear from me, because I want you to see this movie yourself. Here's a few reasons why. We Are Legends is an ambitious film. I'm not sure that this film is going to catch on with the local audience, even though it should. What I mean is that, okay, in a lot of ways, it is a very Hong Kong movie. Although it's a film about MMA, it's really a very classic martial arts story like we've seen a lot of times before. And it's told with an economy of narrative that's probably going to be familiar to a lot of you. But more on that later. Oh, and since I said moron, now, like I already said, We Are Legends has a classic Hong Kong look to it. It also has a sequence featuring Wyona Young that makes no narrative contribution whatsoever to the story, but it's still just a perfect Hong Kong movie moment. Let's just say that it's irrefutable proof that Daniel Chan used to work for Wong Jing. Speaking of which, the movie also has some very typical tonal shifts that some people might find a little jarring, but the local audience definitely enjoys. Besides, they're done well enough that you don't hear the clutch grinding, so who cares? As I said at the beginning of this review, I appear in this film as a ring announcer. I speak English to the crowd, and then I speak English to the fighters, and then the fighters respond in Chinese for no reason whatsoever. But even as we shot that scene, we were all laughing. It's a very local kind of joke, and I was just grateful to be a part of it. Kind of like being the world's biggest mic stand. That's intentional, and I hope you think it's as funny as I do. We Are Legends is worth seeing because it's the kind of movie where everybody's hard work is really self-evident. The main cast surprised everybody in the production when they transform themselves into people that are visually convincing as being fighters, because neither of those young men was in that sort of shape, and they apparently got into it real quickly. After early screenings of the film, people have apparently been asking Daniel Chan which gym Wyona Young teaches martial arts at, because they want to, study under her. That's not a euphemism. And the thing is that she doesn't really do martial arts in real life. She just did it in that movie. But obviously her preparation and her performance in the film are convincing enough that people think she does it all the time. Now, stuntman Jason Lee was always in great shape, but it's nice to see him get an opportunity here to play, an actual role that has a character arc and some lines and stuff, and so that was a lot of fun to watch. Daniel Chan, in addition to writing, directing, and editing the film, also operated a camera. So, moving from the physical to the intellectual, the level of detail in this movie was really impressive to me because, quite honestly, I don't get to see it that often. Now, I was never a huge fight fan growing up, but even I could recognize all the numerous nods to boxing and to boxing movies. Anybody who knows anything about boxing movies is going to get the big one, and it's not the obvious one. And anybody who knows anything about boxing as a sport is going to recognize a lot of names and places and events that you see in posters or on t-shirts. For me, it showed both a commitment to the movie as well as the love that a lot of people involved in the making of it have for martial arts. Yes, boxing is a martial art. So for me, it was a lot of fun to see these details because I kind of could register them and understand what they were talking about or referencing, as it were. For example, there's an homage to a heavyweight boxer that you might not get, but even if you don't get it, it's referencing something really funny. So even without knowing it's a reference, it's still funny, so don't worry about it. Mixed martial arts is still, relatively speaking, kind of a small thing in Hong Kong. And I appreciated that We Are Legends doesn't try to tell a bigger story than it should. This isn't a movie about sports as much as it's about people who do a sport and what sports means in their lives. And I have to say, the thing I appreciated most about We Are Legends is that it's not in a hurry. Remember when I said more on that later? Well, yeah, We Are Legends does tell some parts of the story very quickly, but it also takes the time more than once to let the audience sit and watch people have a conversation, and I just really enjoyed and appreciated that. Then again, that goes for the whole film. If the local audience doesn't appreciate We Are Legends, that's their loss. The rest of us will be able to recognize it. It's nice to see a movie this ambitious that's also really about something that people involved in the production obviously really care very strongly about. And it's also a movie where people very obviously work their asses off to make it. That probably is the biggest reason the film definitely deserves our support, but it's by no means the only one. I think everybody involved did a wonderful job, and like I say, they deserve our support. In fact, director Daniel Chan personally gave me the stills that are used in this review. Please go and see this movie. See it on a big screen. Do you have any idea how fat I look on a cinema screen? But of course, do it legally. Don't download it and then say you loved watching it because you stole it, and I'm not going to tolerate that. I don't care what you say, okay? People spend money to make movies. People should spend money to watch movies. That's just how it works. I don't spend a lot of money to make these videos, but I spend a lot of time, and time is money. Jack Burton told us that 30-some years ago. And so if you think of it in those terms, I do spend a significant amount of time on these videos. And if you wanted to make me feel like my time was worth something, I'm not going to stop you. If you enjoyed this review, please let me know. If you didn't, let me know. If you enjoy the channel, please subscribe. Thank you for watching. I'll see you again soon.